To begin the year 2023, all eyes are on the preparedness of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in discharging its duties during the elections. INEC has disclosed that over 2 million potential voters in Lagos and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, will not be permitted to exercise their franchise over failure to collect their permanent voters' cards. The electoral umpire insisted that despite the low turnout it has recorded, collection of PVCs by proxy would not be permitted. The Commission had fixed the 22nd of January 2023 as the deadline for collection of the PVCs by registrants ahead of the 2023 general election. Joining us on this show right now to discuss INEC's preparations towards the election and the low turnout for collection of permanent voters' cards is Festus Okoye, INEC's Commissioner for Information and Voter Education. Welcome to the morning show, Dr. Festus Okoye. Thank you for joining us, and a very happy new year to you.
Yeah, good morning and happy new year to you all.
Okay, INEC told us before now that nobody can vote without PVC and that you have to go through BVAS for proper biometric authentication. And now this same PVC that INEC had told us is available, we're being told that people cannot even get their PVCs. It's not just a question of 2.1 million people not being able to get the permanent voters' cards in Lagos and the Federal Capital Territory. In parts of the country, there have been allegations that INEC officials are deliberately refusing to give out the PVCs. So, where does INEC stand in this matter? And yet INEC says it is prepared. And yet INEC says PVC is important. But INEC is not giving it out. What are the challenges that INEC faces?
Well, as you pointed out, this commission has fixed the 22nd day of January 2023 as the cutoff date for the collection of PVCs. Now, prior to this particular period, since the end of the 2019 general election, the commission has been giving out the PVCs of those who registered prior to that particular period and didn't collect their PVCs. So the collection has been ongoing. The PVCs we are giving out at this point in time are the PVCs of those who registered between the 28th day of June 2021 and 31st day of July 2022. It also includes those who carried out one form of transfer or the other, and those who lost their PVCs or whose PVCs were damaged and who applied for replacement. Those are the ones that we got ready within this particular period. So we are giving out the PVCs of those who did not collect prior to the 2019 general election. We are also making available for collection the PVCs of those who apply for transfer or those whose PVCs were lost, damaged or defaced and who apply for replacement, and those who carried out a fresh registration during the continuous voters registration exercise. From the reports we have been getting, the turnout of persons coming to collect their PVCs has been quite impressive. So we believe that with the public holiday almost over, that the turnout will of persons coming to collect will increase. But this commission will not, under any circumstance whatsoever, give out any PVC by proxy. If people made efforts to register, and so many Nigerians made efforts to come out and register, they should also make efforts to come out and collect their PVCs. Now, from the 6th day of January 2023 to the 15th day of January 2023, the Commission will devolve the collection of PVCs to the 8,809 registration areas or electoral wards. So we believe that we are going to take these PVCs closer to the people and make it available for collection. Our resident electoral commissioners and the electoral officers have also been asked to devolve local mechanisms and local initiatives and creative ways of making the PVCs available to the registrants. But no PVC will be given out by proxy. In terms of some of the allegation that some of our officers are collecting money before collection. We don't have such report. And if anyone has such report, the person should make the report available, or should make the report to the electoral officer of the local government, or even to the resident electoral commissioner, and we are going to take decisive action against any of our staff who engages in any action that is unethical.
All right, thank you for your assurances, Dr. Okoye. However, some Nigerians have said that even the reporting process is quite unclear. So is it just to walk up to the electoral officer? What if the electoral officer themselves, or he or herself, is the one in breach of the INEC Code of Conduct? Who do we then speak to? Are there portals online that people can go on to report incidents? Because unfortunately for many Nigerians, social media has become their tool of reporting, where we see videos around, and then they've said it would be good if INEC could publish the processes and procedures as to how people can report, and then also publish cases where INEC has taken action to assure Nigerians that they're on top of things.
I think there are two issues involved in this particular process. The first issue is that when you want to go and collect your PVC, you must go to the registration to our officers with the slip that was issued to you at the point of registration. If you have lost that slip, you must go to them with an identifiable identity card, either a national driver's license or any other identification that is acceptable to some of our officers. The electoral officers at the local governments are not the ones giving out the PVCs. We have a full complement of staff at the various local governments. And what we have done is to segregate the collection into electoral wards. So you will find two INEC staff in charge of two electoral wards. And so what someone does is that when you approach any of our local government offices, you present your slip, and then they refer you to the staff that is in charge of a particular local government, and that particular staff will check that your PVC is available, and then they will incident you, and then you sign or thumbprint, and then they will give you your PVC. All these complaints really arose from the first day of collection, because there was a deluge during the first day of collection. But that deluge has completely evaporated, and we believe that the process has been streamlined. The process is now very, very seamless, and we encourage Nigerians to go and collect and go and collect their PVCs. There is no issue relating to the collection of PVCs. And the national commissioners of the commission will, the moment we devolve to the registration areas, lead the charge, lead the process to make sure that Nigerians go out and collect their PVCs. So I want to assure Nigerians, and I want to assure you, that the collection will be seamless, and that every Nigerian that made effort to register and wants to vote during the 2023 general election will collect his or her PVC. But those who engage in multiple registration, those who engage in double registration, those who engage in unethical conduct during the registration process will not get their PVC. It is some of these people that are going to our local government offices to go and make trouble. But I want to assure you that only those who are validly and duly and legally registered will collect their PVCs, and no other person.
Okay, Dr. Okoye, Lagos presents a special case. People who have been going to these local government offices in Lagos, they claim that they are being told that the PVCs are not available. They have been asked to come back much later, maybe after the deadline, for the collection of the PVCs. What is INEC doing about that? And then in Akwa Ibom and perhaps elsewhere, people are collecting, they are buying PVCs off people. They are collecting voter identification numbers. Now, of what use can this be to those persons who are exchanging money for PVCs and voter identification numbers? What would they use those numbers
well,
for?
In relation to in relation to Lagos State, the resident electoral commissioner for Lagos State is a very organized individual. Every day, he sends to the national headquarters of the commission the collection rate of PVCs per local government on a daily basis. So we have report from every local government on a daily basis relating to the collection of PVCs in Lagos State. So in terms of Lagos State, I have no doubt whatsoever that the process is organized and that the process is clean and that the process is going on smoothly. And I want to still reassure Nigerians who registered that they will go collect their PVCs. The persons who are not able to collect their PVCs, who are claiming that they have been asked to come back, are those who engage in multiple and double registration. Those PVCs are not available. When you tell them that they engage in multiple registration or double registration, they start trying to create confusion at the local government area. So sometimes, in order to calm them down, some of the staff just ask them to go and come back. So that's exactly what is going on. In terms of those who are harvesting the voter identification number of persons who registered, I think it's just an exercise in futility. Why are you harvesting and buying off voter identification numbers when those voter identification numbers were published in our local government areas and in our registration areas when we displayed the voters register for claims and objections? Those voter identification numbers are there. So those who are buying off people's voter identification numbers are just engaged in an exercise in futility. Secondly, we have made it very clear to Nigerians that this commission will deploy the beavers for voter accreditation and authentication. And the data of every registered voter in Nigeria per polling unit is domiciled in the beavers. It's not domiciled in the permanent voters card. So the only thing the presiding officer will do on election day is to look at the last 6 digits of your PVC and use it to bring out your voter identification number for purposes of calling up your data from the beavers. So those who are buying up the people's VIN numbers and those who are buying up people's PVCs can only engage in voter suppression. They can only suppress the vote. They can only prevent the voter from going to the polling unit on election day. But in terms of carrying out the PVC of someone else and giving to another person for the person to use it to vote, I can assure you that that is next to impossibility and it will not happen on election day.
All right, I'd like to commend the efforts of the campaign No PVC, No Voting, sensitizing Nigerians on picking up their PVCs. Recently, you had the Calabar Carnival to speak to Nigerians as to the importance of picking up their PVCs. I'd like you to share with us some of your office's initiative to ensure that more Nigerians are aware, because unfortunately, some people have stated that despite, I must admit, quite a widespread information on the dates and where to collect, some people are still in the dark. What are some of the efforts of your office to ensure that more Nigerians are aware of these systems and procedures you've talked about? The date for collections, the deadline for collections, what to do if you don't have your slip, because that question has come up a number of times, and then what to do when you've been, the office or the ward you've gone to isn't giving your PVC.
The Commission had a retreat with all the resident electoral commissioners for the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, as well as our administrative secretaries in Lagos. And we gave them our standard operating procedure for PVC collection. And then we also charged them to also explore local initiatives and creative methods and innovations in terms of PVC collection. You can see that during the Calabar Carnival, the resident electoral commissioner also initiated PVC collection for persons who registered in Calabar Municipal and Calabar South local government areas. And we made PVCs available for collection during that particular period. And over 200 persons collected their PVCs during this particular period. We have also energized our OB vans, and we are going around the markets, going around the churches and so on, together with youth corps members to sensitize people on PVC collection. And then our electoral officers in the 774 local government areas are also meeting with traditional rulers, meeting with religious leaders, going to the markets, meeting with market women and market leaders and so on, in order to sensitize them. So, and As I pointed out, national commissioners have already resumed, and they are going to go to the states that they supervise. And together with the resident electoral commissioners, they are going to address press conferences, they are going to meet with religious leaders, they are going to meet with traditional rulers in order to encourage them to make themselves available and collect their PVCs. And so I think that the campaign is going on well. The campaign is going on in churches. The political parties are also doing their own bit. Civil society groups and organizations have been wonderful in the type of support they have been giving to the commission. And so I have no fears whatsoever that all those who registered, who are validly registered, will collect their PVCs before the deadline.
Okay, but it will appear that every election cycle, INEC engages ad hoc staff, particularly members of the National Youth Service Corps. And in Lagos in particular, people have said that part of the problem is that INEC is grossly understaffed, even for this PVC collection process. What is INEC doing about recruiting this ad hoc staff? And you need probably maybe 12 persons per unit. Is there any progress in that direction? Because it's about having the hands on the ground. I don't want to say boots on the ground because it's not war. So is that really the challenge that you don't want to talk about?
No, there's no challenge here. For the 2023 general election, the commission will engage for both the national and the state level election. That is for presidential and national assembly election and the governorship and state assembly elections. We are going to engage over 1.4 million ad hoc staff. And this will be made up of core members and students of federal tertiary institutions in their penultimate year. And you will know that it is next to impossibility for an organization like the Independent National Electoral Commission to have over 1.4 million staff in his payroll. The total staff strength of the commission as of today is hovering around 16,000. So when we devolve the collection to the various registration areas, we are also going to engage the services of core members to assist the commission in terms of giving out these PVCs. And I believe that if we spend 1 week in every registration area, every individual who wants to collect his or her PVC, we have an opportunity of collecting. Now, let me also make this clear. During the registration exercise, we ask people to carry out registration wherever they are. And for those who carry that transfer, we told them that they can do transfer wherever they are. But when you do transfer, if you are in Lagos and you want to vote, for instance, in Kaduna North local government, the fact that you are in Lagos does not mean that you are going to collect your a PVC in Lagos State. You have to collect your PVC where in the local government where you have transferred to. But some people are going to the local government where they carried out the registration to go and look for their PVC. Their PVCs are not there. Your PVC will be in the place where you have told the commission you now want to vote. Because you say you don't want to vote in Lagos anymore. You want to vote in Kaduna State and in Kaduna North local government. So we've transferred you to Kaduna North local government. So your PVC is in Kaduna North local government and not in Lagos where you carried out the initial transfer. So I think that people need to get some of these issues very, very clear in order for them to have a very clear understanding of what we are doing.
All right, so we've had reports around underage voters, registered voters, illegal migrants across, from people who, from our viewers and also from people that we've spoken to. What is INEC doing to clean up the register and registration process to make it credible so that Nigerians can believe that indeed the next election is going to be free, fair, and credible?
Our voters register is robust, and we believe that our voters register is credible. As of today, the voters register is hovering between 93.5 million registered voters. Now, on the 16th day of January 2023, the Commission will publish the official register of voters that will be used for the 2023 general election. Yes, I completely agree with you that there have been issues around underage registration. In some of the areas where we recorded some underage registrations, we have summoned all the officers that engage in that particular exercise to appear before the commission, and they're appearing before a special panel of the commission, and it is still ongoing. Now, we have also made it very clear that any visibly underage person should not, on any account whatsoever, approach any of our polling units on election day, because if the person does, the person will definitely be arrested, and the parents may also be arrested for aiding and abetting such venture. Secondly, the chairman has also told the nation that the cleanup of the voters register is an ongoing venture, and we are going to make sure that all malicious registrations that have gotten into our register will be removed prior to election day. Some of the data you saw, some of the information you saw on the social media relating to underage registration were some underage registrations that took place between 2011 and before we went into the 2019 general election. This commission had the courage to publish the entire register of voters and ask Nigerians to also check to make sure that no malicious registrations have gone into our voters register. And so we have harvested all the claims, all the objections, and all the complaints, and we are cleaning up the voters register. And we assure Nigerians that the register we are going to go into the 2023 general elections with will be a voters register they can be proud of, and it will be a credible voters register. And the cleanup is still ongoing, and we are not done with it yet.
Okay, two quick things. The first one, which is a major source of concern, is voter turnout. At the best of times, voter turnout in previous election cycles was not more than maybe 45%. Now, this time around, we have BVAS, and BVAS does not allow for what is called, I think, incident forms. Will voter turnout not be less? And what is INEC doing about voter turnout? The second one has to be about a runoff, the possibility of a runoff. You were quoted previously saying, oh, INEC has prepared for that. INEC has printed 186 million ballot papers, and that INEC is ready. And this newspaper, Board of Editors, did a very robust thumb of rule analysis recently, saying that perhaps we're going in the direction of a runoff. Can you repeat your earlier claim, or will you do so, that INEC is ready in the event of a runoff, considering the fact that the reverse logistics is within a very short window?
Well, in relation to your first question on the issue of voter turnout, the conduct of free, fair, credible, and inclusive election is a shared responsibility. So the issue of voter turnout must be shared with political parties, civil society groups and organizations, the media, community leaders, religious leaders, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and indeed all Nigerians. All of us have a responsibility to make sure that we encourage our people to come out and vote. Not only that, this commission moved proactively to design creative and innovative mechanisms of making sure that more Nigerians register to vote during this election. And as you pointed out, over 76% of all those who carried out the continuous voters registration exercise were young men and women between the age of 18 and 34. So, and they use the online portal which the commission established for purposes of doing their pre-registration. So we are encouraged that more Nigerians engage the process during this particular period. Not only that, Nigerians have looked at the off-cycle governorship and other elections we conducted since the 2019 general election, and they are encouraged at the level of transparency and also at the level of credibility we brought to bear on these elections. And they believe now that there is a possibility, and I use the word possibility advisedly, that when they go out to go and vote, that their votes will count. So I believe that more Nigerians are now engaging the process, and that more Nigerians will turn out to come and vote during the election. We are going to use the BVAS. There is no doubt about that. Section 47, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act makes it mandatory that the BVAS shall be used for voter accreditation and authentication. If we do not use the BVAS for voter accreditation and authentication, that means there won't be any election in this country. And so we are going to use the BVAS. The incident form has been retired with all the benefits accruing therefrom. And so we never see incident forms in our electoral process because we have moved on and we have moved away from the issue of incident forms. And so we encourage people to come out on election day and exercise their democratic franchise. And we also assure them that their votes will be the only determinant of who gets elected and who does not get elected. On your second issue relating to the issue of runoff, the framers of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we are very, very clear on the responsibilities of the Commission. The responsibility of the Commission is to organize, undertake, and supervise election, as provided in the Constitution. Now, if you look at Section 134 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it makes it very clear that before someone can be declared as having won the presidential election, the candidate must secure the highest number of votes cast in the election and also a quarter of the votes cast in 2/3 of all the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. He says that in default of any of the candidates securing this, that the Commission has only 21 days to organize a second election between the candidate that secured the highest number of votes and one amongst the remaining candidates that secured a majority of votes in a majority of the states of the Federation. And it goes further to say that if no candidate secures the highest number of votes and also a quarter of the votes cast in 2/3 of all the states of the Federation, that there will be another election. It is at that third election that simple majority will be used to determine who wins. So what that means is that we are going to conduct the presidential election on the 25th day of February, 2023. And then the governorship election is still pending for 11th day of March. So we have 21 days to engage in reverse logistics and also conduct a second election if no candidate emerges. So what that means is that we must also prepare for that eventuality that there's a possibility that the election may not produce a winner. And so since we have just 21 days and since we also have a governorship and state assembly election pending, what that means is that the lawmakers expect the Commission to prepare for this second election, this eventuality, when we are also preparing for the main election. And that's exactly what we are doing and what we have done. And so we don't have fears whatsoever if the election, if no winner is produced during the first election. We will be ready for a second election if that eventuality is upon us.
Finally, Dr. Okoye, I'd like you to just speak to the security situation. I know that you're working, INEC is working in partnership with the security agencies. However, you have raised concerns around the fact that if there's a continuous attack on INEC facilities, it would jeopardize the timeline set for the elections to take place. Have there been improvements in this area? The last attack was on December 20 in Imo State. Has there been any improvement in this area? And then the second thing is the protection of your staff members, especially ad hoc staff, NYSC members, which has raised concern in past elections as to how INEC is working to ensure that they protect the lives of these young people.
The security situation in different parts of the country is a source of concern. There's no doubt about that. The chairman has spoken about this. We have had series of meetings with the various security agencies under the auspices of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. And we have been assured, and they have also been working assiduously to make sure that our INEC facilities are properly protected. I am confident. I was in Calabar recently, and I saw the type of protection around our state office. And there has also been improvement in terms of the protection of our local government offices. But the Commission is also working hard to make sure that it uses its own initiatives in making sure that both sensitive and non-sensitive materials required for the conduct of election are strategically kept so that if there's any mishap, it will not have a huge impact on the Commission and its preparations. But as we have pointed out, the security agencies must find ways and means of making sure that we don't suffer further attacks, because the time for us to begin to move our non-sensitive materials to the local governments and batching them in accordance with our registration areas has come, and we cannot afford not to conform to our timelines. Our staff members and ad hoc staff that are going to be engaged in this election must also be protected. So we believe that as we have moved into the critical phase of the electoral process, that the security agencies should and must secure the nation to make it conducive for the voters, for electoral materials, and for electoral personnel to deploy. Nigerians are looking forward to this election, and we cannot, under any circumstance whatsoever, afford to disappoint them. The option of not conducting election is not even on the table at all. So we must do whatever it takes to make sure that this election holds on schedule, because not holding this election on schedule and not holding it at all portends very grave danger to our democracy and our electoral process, and we cannot afford to go that route. And so we are confident that we are going to conduct this election, and it will be a very good election.
Okay, Dr. Okoye, thank you very much for joining us. But one thing you put in your pocket as you go away, because we seem to have run out of time, is that in Lagos State, there are allegations that persons who bear non-Yoruba names are being denied access to their PVCs. I think INEC can investigate that. Anybody at all, whether you are Yoruba or whatever, and Lagos does not belong to Yorubas alone, you are entitled to your PVC. You can't be denied PVC on the basis of ethnicity, religion, or extraction. But that's a takeaway for you. Thank you very much.